You're listening to the Self-Made is a Myth, Make a Difference Together show with your host, Coach Tim Campsall, where we talk with successful business owners to hear the stories of their journeys in building their successful businesses. And more importantly, we recognize the folks who help them excel because we know that achieving business success is not something we can do on our own.
Hello, everyone. This is Coach Tim Campsall, and I'm excited to have a fellow business owner from Indiana with us today. My guest, check this out. He's traveled to 46 of the 50 states. We'll have him share the ones he's missing with us in a minute here. In his downtime, he likes to play golf and tennis, and he's most proud of the team that he's been lucky enough to assemble both in his personal life as well as his work. It's my pleasure to welcome Adam to the show today. Hello, Adam.
Tim, good afternoon. Good to see you.
Hey, let's start with having you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit of your personal story, like where you were born and live, your family and hobbies.
Sure. So Adam Grubb, I'm from Goshen, Indiana is where I was born, but I lived in kind of central Indiana, part about an hour north of Indianapolis. I've lived here now a majority of my life. I've got three girls, getting ready to send one to college here pretty soon, University of Cincinnati. And then I have a 7th and 6th grader, all girls. Been married almost 18 years now, with her for 20. Business owner, entrepreneur, never really had that dream. I just had the dream of working, creating, and doing what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. And I've been lucky enough to be able to do all those things so far. So I am a massive Cubs fan. I am an avid golfer, and from a relaxing and like, hey, what are your hobbies? I do like to work. I enjoy working. I enjoy reading and creating and thinking, and that's relaxing to me. I know it sounds crazy and or a little trite, but it's true. I enjoy working. It's fun. I like getting up and doing some things. I like going to bed late and doing things. It's a fun position to be in when you're leading a team or you're leading a company, because it truly is all on you. Even though you have a huge team, you have a great team, you have great people, at the end of the day, it's on you. So you really have to keep everything buttoned up.
That's awesome. Hey, in your introduction, I said that you enjoy golf and tennis. Which one is your preference if you had to pick one or the other?
Golf's my preference, just because I've been doing it forever. Tennis came to me late in life. I'm not a great athlete, but I'm one of those athletes that can do most things okay. Tennis just happened to be one of those sports I really enjoyed the workout. I really enjoyed the effort. It was something my wife and I could do together. We're members of a club, and they got a great tennis program there. So we were lucky enough to have a great program, and I really fell in love with it. It's one of my big regrets, and it's funny that topic would bring up a regret of my life. But when I was growing up, I loved golf and I wanted to play. I started when I was 13, and I always asked my dad to play golf with me, and he never wanted to because he wasn't very good. And he's like, it's a waste. I'll hate it. You go make that your thing.
Yeah. And
then he would come to me and ask me if I wanted to play tennis because he played tennis. And I said, nah, it's a waste. I'm no good at it. Make that your thing. And come to find out that would have been some great time together. Now he and I played, I think maybe 2 or 3 times we hit the ball around the tennis court, and it was great. But we've never played golf together. He's an amazing man, amazing person, but that is one of the regrets that I at 20 years old, or 15 to 20, that I wasn't at least using that outlet to hang with him and spend time with him. But now I'm playing tennis now, and it's great.
That's awesome. Adam, what are the 4 states that you haven't visited yet?
Hawaii, Alaska, Wyoming, and Montana.
And of those, is one of them on your bucket list?
It's easy to say Hawaii, but I think honestly, Montana might be one of those. I've heard nothing but amazing things about that area, and I've been to that area of the country, but I just never been to Montana. And that would probably be one. I think Alaska would be cool because you could say you've been to Alaska, but I'm sure we'll get to Hawaii someday. But Alaska, I'm not quite sure unless I go on a cruise or something. I'm not sure. The Wyoming, I really don't have any interest in it.
We
Unless there's
apologize
unless there's a client there in Wyoming, then
There
by
you
all means
go,
I'll
right?
see you there, and I'm going to enjoy it. I can assure you that.
Is there a funny story that your family likes to tell about you that you'd be willing to share?
Funny story. Well, there's a lot of funny stories of the probably the story that gets told a lot is when my wife and I were at a concert and I got sucker punched over a misunderstanding of someone's seats. They thought they were entitled to the front row of the rail, and in reality, they were our seats. And they started jacking around, and I got sucker punched. And then I turned around, and my wife is on the back of this guy and is hitting him in the face. So the girls in the household like to tell the story that mom came to dad's rescue. And it's always now there's about a 20-minute preamble to that story and a 20-minute postscript to that story. But the gist of it is that I got sucker punched. My wife stood in for me, and the girls find that hilarious.
That is awesome. And we'll hear the rest of the story on next week's podcast.
Yes. There might be several of those podcasts that we might have to do to tell the entire story.
That's
But let's just say I know what a concert venue jail is inside, and that wasn't the highlight of my existence. And to top it off, I was like 40 years old and not drinking, so I'm not exactly sure how I found myself in that position. Because when I was 22, 23, going to concerts, and I had no problems, but I can't make it. I can't make it in my 40s at a show anymore.
Well, at least you know that you've got the muscle to send in to take care of you. So that's good.
I've known that for a long time, Tim.
Adam, tell us about how the business came about, and at what point did you have the confidence that you could run your own business?
Uh, the podcast answer is, I don't know if I have the confidence yet. I'm still working it out. But the real answer is I've always had the confidence. I've always known that I could. I started working at a very young age, at 15 years old, in a corporate, adult world on the radio. And then I was a newspaper writer, and I was going to high school. I was a newspaper writer and on the radio all at the same time, and running cross country. I was always somebody that wanted to do a lot of things. So I've always had it, and I've always had the confidence. But I just never really had taken that next step. So in 2015, I started Adam Grubb Media, which is a full service video marketing agency here in Central Indiana. We cover the entire country, of course, but I had a full-time job and a day job in the media and publishing world. I was making videos. I was helping them drive revenue. I was seeing that a lot of people were making money on these things, and a lot of manufacturers and businesses were excited about the work we were doing. So I said, look, maybe I can do this myself. So while working full time, I started my own thing. I was very transparent with my employer, and they were amazing about me starting up my own thing. And so for 5, 6, 7 years, I did both simultaneously. I grew my business at a slow rate, a slow pace, to ensure that I didn't fall underneath its own weight. I had $6,500 in revenue year one, and just continued to move that through until where we are today. Confidence has never been an issue. Excitement, passion, drive, never been an issue. Vision, never been an issue. Really, my biggest issue was always implementation. And having either the skill set to implement what I wanted to do, or the ability to find the right people and be able to pay them what they were worth. And I had some great people come to me early that really should have been making way more than they were, but they believed in the vision, they believed in me, and you can't put a price on that. To find those people that early on say, hey, I see it, I get it, this is great, let's just kind of build some stuff and see what happens. I've been very lucky, and I've also been just kind of very specific in the type of person that was going to work here, because they need to have a very specific, in the words of Liam Neeson, they need to have a very specific set of skills. They need to have this ideology and this vision and this creativeness and this excitement and passion for just building something all together. And we've all heard the adage, building the plane as you're flying it. We were we were building the plane early on the ground. And I was very specific about that. I'm like, I don't want to build while we're flying. Now, the last couple of years, we've been adding on to the plane that
Sure.
was already flying, right? It
Yeah.
went from a little Cessna to this Boeing 747 Max pretty quickly. But there's been and I know that the position of this show, I can't say enough about my team.
Mm.
I can't say enough about the people that are here and the action that they bring every single day. Now, we've had people come in and come out, of course.
Sure. Yeah.
You have your people where I'm not I'm a pretty empathetic boss and leader when it comes to that. I give people a lot of chances, a lot of opportunities, and I'll hire people with the idea that they're going to be awesome. And I don't really know yet. I'm going to give them a chance to be awesome, right? And then when they don't, I say, hey, here's what awesome looks like. Here's what I'm looking for. And then I'll give them another chance until finally I'm like, okay, this isn't working. You know it, I know it, Yeah. But those people that have held on and have been with me for a long time, they are the cream of the crop. And they've had an education in entrepreneurship and building something small and watching it grow and all this excitement. They've been able to share in that same excitement as I have, because 3 or 4 of the first people in are still here.
Yeah.
And they continue to rise up in the ranks of the company.
Wonderful. Hey, Adam, tell us a little bit more about the company. You've mentioned the name, but say it again. What do you guys do? How do you help people?
So I've, as a video marketing agency and as a creative and as a marketer, I creatively and cleverly titled my company Adam Grubb Media. I figured why confuse anybody? Let's just tell them exactly who it is and what we do. So Adam Grubb Media is a full service video marketing agency. We help companies identify the stories they need to tell. We then tell those stories through video marketing, social, and promotional apparel. And then we ensure that people see those stories through our marketing efforts of website design, promotional design, SEO, social media, PPC, you name it. There's a 360 solution within AGM. And we started out as just doing video, corporate video, because I thought corporate video was boring. I thought it was annoying. I thought it didn't really do much. I wanted to bring a very different flair, a different flavor to corporate video. And then as time moved on, companies would be like, hey, do you do this? Do you do this? And I said, yeah, absolutely we do. And then I went back and I'm like, hey guys, we do this now. And then we had to figure it out. But that's what we do. And we work with brands all over the country. We work with small local brands that are HVAC companies all the way to big product manufacturers that are household names and household brands. We've worked with startups. We've worked with software, healthcare. There are certain companies that work with us just to do their testimonial or their training videos, all internal. Then we have other companies where we run the gamut. We do their website, we do their strategy, their marketing strategy. We buy their media. We furnish their shirts and hats. We tell their story in a complete 360 solution with Adam Grubb Media, AGM for short. And it's been a very exciting ride to see the different types of companies that, as small or as large as they are, most of them have the same problems and most of them have the same issues. Right. They have short-staffed marketing departments. They have people that are overwhelmed, overworked. They're doing 10 things at one time. And so we're like, look, we're going to do the stuff that you don't want to do or the stuff that you don't know you need to do. Yeah. That's going to be our thing. And we're going to come in, we're going to help you understand, evaluate, and then we're going to make sure that we do it. And then we're going to make sure that it matters and that people see it. Because the last thing you want to do is spend $30,000 on a video package and all this content and then no one see it. Now the video is a waste of time, waste of money. And no one likes being on video in these businesses and corporations. And so our job is to make it fun, exciting, make it an event. So when our team comes into your facility or your office or your manufacturing plant, your team's excited because AGM is there. It's going to be fun. A couple days, we're going to shoot a bunch of content. We're going to make sure then that it's utilized properly, whether it's internal, external, whether it's for YouTube channel, whether it's for a sales presentation, a big trade show, or if you just want to have a Christmas message to your team because you can't, fly everybody in. There's a lot of different ways that we help companies tell their stories of expertise. And it's really, really cool to learn I mean, we've been, and how I've been to 46 states is we have clients all over the place. But number one, I've been to a lot of these states I've never would be at because we do a lot of videos for manufacturers and they have these plants in Broken Bow, Oklahoma, right?
Yeah.
And I've been to Broken Bow, Oklahoma, and I've stayed there, and the town shuts down at 8 o'clock and the coffee place opens up at like 10 a.m. You know, it's crazy. But I've been able to be in these like remote parts of the country, learning and meeting people that have worked at these companies and factories for 30 years, and talking to them and hearing their story and hearing them talk about the pride they have. You cannot put a price on that. Well, actually, that's not true. I did literally put a price on it, but you can't put a price on that experience as a production team. I love it so much, and I love meeting people, hearing their stories, and then making sure that other people see them.
That's awesome. So for everyone listening, make sure to check out the company in the link in the description, and go visit Adam on LinkedIn. Let him know that you watched his interview.
Yeah, I would love it.
So Adam, share a story where someone pushed you or inspired you that you could do it, even though maybe you didn't think that you could, and the impact that that person had on you.
I think getting hired as a sports writer at 16, Cameron Crowe, the writer, he was so he's a director, movie director. He directed Almost Famous, as well as Vanilla Sky and some others. He was a writer for Rolling Stone, and he covered bands at a very young age. And when you're a young reporter, that confidence that you get and that quick education you get about working with adults, I had that. So what pushed me was the fact that I got hired by a guy by the name of Matt Selinsky, who was a sports writer at the Marion Chronicle Tribune in Indiana. He is now, I think he's working in San Diego, but he hired a kid. I was in high school. I was a kid with no official sports writing credentials at all. And I am covering the Indiana Pacers in 1996, 1997, including interviewing the Chicago Bulls when they went on their massive run in 96 or 97. I was in the locker room interviewing Dennis Rodman, interviewing Dinky Simpkins, Jordan, Pippen, name a player. I was in that space. That drove me because I had to be bigger. I had to be grown up. I had to take that. I couldn't get autographs. I couldn't get photos. I wasn't a kid standing next to Dennis Rodman. I was a reporter, and I had to grow up pretty quickly, and I had to take that very seriously. So that experience, that forced experience, gave me the confidence to be able to say, look, if I can walk into a room, into a locker room at 16 years old with sports writers and TV personalities that I have known for years and watched on TV and read their stuff, if I can stand in that room with the greatest athletes ever, I think I can do the next thing. And that pushed me to understand quickly how to talk to people, how to interview, how to communicate, how to get a yes, and that moved me into sales and all that experience. And I'm so big on no experience is bad. Even if the no in sales, you still got to know, you learned why you got that no, right? So that's probably, no one's ever asked that really to me. And I know it's such a simple question, but it really isn't. It's a pretty profound thought. Like, who pushed you? I've pushed myself probably more than any one person has pushed me, but I have pushed myself because of the opportunities I was given by people that probably shouldn't have given them. I wasn't special. I wasn't some savant. I wasn't a prolific writer that had been writing for 10 years. I was a kid who just was at the right place at the right time. And this guy said, hey, you know what? We need someone to write stories about bowlers who bowl perfect games on Friday nights. We need someone to type in stats from, back in the 90s, the newspaper, that was the thing. And I just got great opportunities. It was hard to be humble in those days. I was on the radio. I was a sports writer. I was, I was doing some really cool things that my friends weren't doing. But as I look back, being taken down a peg or two, and still having to go get the Noble Romans breadsticks and the Cokes for the main riders
Yeah.
at 1 a.m. on
Yeah.
a Saturday, that'll put you back in your spot pretty quick. So
Right.
I was pushed to succeed by the opportunities that were given to me and my inability to want to disappoint those that gave me those opportunities.
Yeah. Well, offline, we'll have to grab a drink and you can share the unpublishable stories from those locker rooms.
Well, I think most of the interview with Dennis Rodman was unpublishable then,
Right.
and it is now.
Right. Exactly. So, Adam, what's your biggest learning as a business owner?
Biggest learning. What
Just
have I?
in terms of, right, if somebody else was to say what, what knowledge or wisdom would you pass along? What have you, what's your key takeaway or learning in your business owner journey? Right? The biggest thing, that you've been like, oh yeah, that's pass onable. Right? What?
I would say the core values.
Mhm.
Truly having core values that make sense for you as an individual, and your brand and your company and your people. And then not just having those core values as on the wall, on your website, and fodder or the memo line
Mhm.
at the end of your email signature. Having core values that are truly that. They are core values of how you go to market, how you go to the office, how you communicate with your clients, with your coworkers, with prospects, and really how you deal with the tribulations of work. And as an entrepreneur and as a business owner and as a leader, you have to find values that are not just that have a true meaning and that you can keep coming back to.
Yeah.
And our core values for me have given me so many different opportunities to have difficult conversations, to have positive conversations, to rate people, to grade their entire year or their month. Has given me opportunities to open up dialogue that might not be opened, because I can say, look, per core value 3,
Yes.
let's make sure we're doing X or Y. And as long as you truly believe in them and can keep coming back to them, and you utilize them as not just a mission statement or a value statement, you use them as, here's how we go to market and here's how we work. And when you're in a tough spot, I want you to look at that wall and I want you to go, oh, that's right. Okay.
Mhm.
I have to be able to adjust and adapt.
Yeah.
And our 5 core values are to me something that will continue to drive us. And they might change, but today, just like we do, my core value at 24 was not my core value at 44,
Sure.
right? And as the company continues to grow and expand and move and more people come in, those core values might change, but they're generic enough to be able to move within the framework that you're currently in. But they're specific enough to pinpoint something that somebody's gonna be able to take away a nugget. And that's probably the biggest thing I would say to any business owner or entrepreneur or leader is find a couple, 5, 3, whatever
Mhm.
values that you can work with your company to come up with, or you can say, here's what we are, here's where, and you find people that can fit within those, or find people that can learn and adapt to those values.
Yeah.
It's a much easier hire. It's a much easier fire.
Yeah.
If you can say, look, this is how we go to market, these 5 things, and you're just not getting these things done. Yeah. Or to promote someone, it's not through attrition, it's not through nepotism, it's not through political power. It's simply you're demonstrating 5 of our 5 core values day in and day out.
Yep.
There's nobody else that fits our values as well as you have over the years. You are ready for the next step. Yeah. And it's an easy judgment, and it's not personal. It's simply facts.
So for folks listening, this would be one of those moments that you grab your pen and paper and write that down. There's, so many businesses don't even do the exercise of vision, mission, culture. And then many, like Adam just articulated, do the exercise, and then it's a picture on a wall or a piece of paper in a binder. What I like about what you just shared, Adam, is you guys are living and breathing it day to day, which is what makes it real and allows you to have the conversations, the examples that you just shared, right? To keep people accountable. One of the things we do is in our Monday huddles, we read one out loud and then we hold each other, we share where we feel like we're doing well with it and where we feel like we could improve, so that again, we're keeping it to be something that's living and breathing as opposed to just being on a piece of paper.
I think another one, I asked in our Monday all hands this week, I said, if you could have the power to change one thing today about the company, what would it be?
Mm.
And I asked 15 people that question, all in front of their peers, in front of the entire company. And you get through a couple joke answers. You get through a couple people going, oh no, we're pretty good. I think everything's good. And then you get to the real meat of it. I think another thing to do is to really make sure that if you ask that question, you have given an opportunity for someone to be free to answer it without fallback, without blowback.
Yes.
And maybe nothing changes, right? Maybe it's a pie in the sky. There's no chance that will happen, but they got to cathartically articulate it outwardly.
Yeah.
And that sometimes is good enough, right? I wish we had X.
Yeah.
Hey, I love that. That would be amazing if we could have that. There's a lot of steps that we'd have to do to get to that, but I'm more than happy to talk about a plan to maybe make that work. Yeah. Now, that's the corporate answer. I think at the time I'm like, nice job, chief. That's going to happen. And then everyone laughs. You're like, no, seriously though, I do think that's a great idea. Here are the reasons why that would be difficult, but maybe we could do some variation of that. And happy to talk about that. And then you ask someone, hey, make sure you write that down. Let's come back to that in a couple weeks or months. Yeah. It's easy to say have an open door policy. It's easy to say, be an open leader and let people come in and really, but as soon as they start talking about your baby, your company,
yeah.
As soon as they start talking about your inability to do this or the company's inability to do that, or it gets personal. And you really have to, and I'm not great at it. I'll be honest with you, Tim. I'm not great at it because it's my name, literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
It's a company that is just really still feeling its way through everything. And when someone comes in and says, I don't know if this is great, like, well, why not?
Yeah.
It is hard. But those are the types of things you got to really kind of push down and deal with it silently or on your own or on the course or, go home and talk to your spouse about it. Be like, but that is an easier said than done mentality as a leader. And I think it's okay.
Well, what I like about what you just described is people want to feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves. They want to feel included and valued. So just simply having that forum of people can share their opinions and then you feed back why it might or might not be able to work, but let's keep it on as an agenda item. It allows people in, right? And feels like they're part of something, they're part of the inner workings, and it makes them want to, work better or harder or different and come with energy every day. So yeah, that's awesome. Hey, I'm gonna put you on the spot here a little bit, Adam. If I was to ask you to pick 3 people in your business owner journey that you're most grateful for them being there to help with your business's growth, who are those 3 people and how they help you?
The first one would be Tony. He was my old boss at my old job, my day job. I mean, who do you go to and say, hey, I'm going to start up something on the side here, and with the hopes of it growing and building, and then I'm gonna leave, and him be okay with it. He was, because he understood what I was doing on the day to day, and it took a long time. I was there for another 7 years. I mean, it really wasn't an overnight thing by any means. But and watching him lead and grow and have that can-do attitude, and watching him say, hey, let's try that. Let's do that. Let's add this. Let's add that. And bringing people, he knew how to bring people together and get them excited and passionate. That without a doubt, Tony, number 1. Number 2 would be Jen, who's the VP of Adam Grubb Media and COO. She was employee number one, actually before I was of my own company. She has made us profitable. She has brought systems and processes. She is the person that the company typically will go to when they don't want to tell me, or when they need some assistance, or when they, if they have an issue. But she has always had AGM front and foremost in her mind, and her passion for the company and her passion for the people. I wouldn't have anybody on my right-hand side inside the walls of AGM other than her. She's been just an incredible asset to the company. And then the third, and not particularly in this order, as I say it out loud, but is my wife. I mean, she's one of those people that she will give her opinion pretty quickly, and has told me things that I have dismissed that come to be true later. She has also allowed me the luxury to make some choices and put myself out there when it might not have been financially solvent to do. And she's also the one that said, hey, why don't you slow down and just let's keep things kind of here. We need this, this day job here. Let's keep this going. When I was ready to just go all in, she reminded me that there's a bunch of people that we're responsible for that live inside our house. And so those are the three people. That really is a pretty easy question for me, ironically, because those
What's
are
your
the
wife's
three.
name?
Mandy.
Awesome.
Yeah. She and Jen are kind of those two people that they, at any point, they'll say, nah, that's not what I would do. And I'd say, okay, well, I appreciate that. And, but we're going to do it that way. And they're like, okay, they will acquiesce. They're not going to stick on the die on the sword too much.
Yeah.
But then if it does go bad, they'll go, I believe I said specifically.
Right. Hey, Adam, as you think about the next 1 to 3 years, what's the number one point of growth or challenge that you see in between where you're at and reaching your goals?
Like anybody, the number one challenge is going to be people, finding the right people, having enough people, not having too many people, not collapsing on your own weight, but having enough support to build up, not overreach, and not slow down. You can't slow down. At least in my business, in media and marketing and advertising and tech and all these things, you can't slow down. And at any point you feel comfortable, you're already behind. And I think that's my youngest daughter plays volleyball. We've all played in those sports. I love sports. And even a 6-run lead for the Cubbies in the 7th ain't good. Like, things can go bad. So as soon as you're comfortable, you're behind. So that's a challenge, because you want to keep going, you want to keep moving, you want to keep pressing, you want to keep acquiring, you want to keep growing, but at what expense? And finding that balance is probably going to be the toughest thing here. We're already running into that a little bit, which everyone saw. It's a good problem to have. It is, but it also isn't, because you have to have difficult conversations sometimes, and you don't want to tell people, hey, we're doing this because I said. You want people to do it because they're excited. You want people to do it because they believe in it.
Yeah.
And then what I'm looking for, and as far as how we grow, obviously finding great sales reps, finding great connection points, doing great work, getting referrals, acquiring other agencies and other companies and other platforms that are just not quite built for expansion. So they're kind of in this little niche, in this little market, which acquiring companies was never really on my game plan. But we've done a couple different acquisitions or mergers here in the last 12 months with some agencies and some platforms, and it's been very beneficial. Difficult, tricky, of course, but beneficial to the longevity and long-term growth of AGM.
Fantastic. Hey, last question here, Adam. Jim Rohn, an amazing business guru, one of his quotes is, "We become the average of the 5 people that we spend the most time with." So as you think about that, what advice would you have for new business owners who are kind of trying to do it on their own?
Find your naysayer. So find that no person, because that no person is going to either light a fire under you to prove them wrong, or they're going to illuminate something that you didn't see, or they're going to slow you down or caution you. They're going to give you that second, because when you're an entrepreneur, man, sky's the limit. Let's rock and roll. It's all good. Everything's going to be fine, right? And I'm an optimist by nature. And when you're an optimist and an entrepreneur, and you have no real fear other than the vision, it's hard to see the bad stuff and to see the difficulties that are in front of you. So find your naysayer and utilize that person to restructure, to rethink, to understand specifically what is how to do what you think you can do. Am I supposed to name 5 people?
No.
My
Just
God.
yeah, no, not at all.
Cow.
No,
That's a difficult question.
no, just his
The people
quote
around you. So
Yeah.
I would say find your naysayer and then find the yang of that, and find your cheerleader. So if you can, as a business owner, as a leader, as an entrepreneur, and I'm obviously impressed by this answer myself, Tim. My God, find your naysayer and find your cheerleader. That should be a T-shirt.
Hey, I think I know somebody that could make.
Oh yeah, I can do it myself.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I'll buy it. Buy it myself. If you find both of those, and you find your cheerleader and you find your naysayer, you then are in the middle of all that. So you can hear the no's and you can hear the yip, and then you can hear the, hey, you can do whatever you want. As long as you don't go one way or the other, you're going to be in the middle of that. You're going to have some pretty damn good advice. You're going to have a pretty clear path to some victory, and some good days ahead.
I love what you're talking about here. Earlier on, you'd mentioned how, you're more of a visionary and an internal optimist. And so we use DISC assessments to help, navigate through what you're saying. And so, basically what Adam's talking about here is, hey, you've got to find your opposite, because a high performance team has both those internal optimists and the visionary, but it also has the people that can land the plane and dot the I's and cross the T's. So if you have a team that's lacking one of those areas, right, you're going to be off balanced, and so you need those internal checks and balances. And so in your recruiting process, right, you can identify, hey, we're lacking, right, the yin for my yang, and so our next hire probably needs to be my opposite, so that we are fully rounded and grounded. And I think earlier you had mentioned, like, you found that in your first hire with your COO, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And she's grown and she's learned, and she's, she did not want to do networking. She did not want to get out and tell our story. She did not want to do certain things. And at a certain point, I'm like, you got to, it's just you and me. So you got to get out there, because I can't be everywhere. And she got out of her comfort zone, and she started to really do that. And then she was selling without selling. And my creative director, and head of production, Camilla, my marketing, brand marketing person, Eric, managing director, Jillian, executive producer, Shane, name a person inside AGM. They're selling out there without selling, because they're just telling their experiences. They're just talking about what they love and what they do. And I would name all 15 to 20 of our employees if I could, because they're all, first of all, I don't remember most of their names, but if I could, no, the 15 to 20 people, everyone is a seller. And that's the other thing in your company, everybody's a seller. It just depends on what they're selling and how they're selling it. And every touch, every experience, every email, every interaction, every completed project, every delivery of that project, all of those things are sales points and sales touches that you're not going to learn in a sales course, and you're not going to learn by watching a TikTok video. You're simply, or listening to a podcast even. Right. That's inherent. People sell with how they approach the client. And if you can get your team all on that same wavelength and just let them know, hey, every interaction here is a potential for a sale. Either that's an upsell or selling them on why they shouldn't work with us ever again. All of those are facts. And those are some really important lessons I've learned over the years, and have seen the team do. And it gets me excited, because I'll bring someone with me that isn't a salesperson to a dinner, to a client dinner, right? Yeah. They're like, she's a creative director. I'm like, yeah, listen to her give you some creative ideas, and watch your eyes bug out, excited about what this could be. You're anticipating it from me. It's my company. You're expecting me to sell you. You're not
Yes.
expecting her to sell you, you know?
The team will thank me that our interview was at the end of the day, because you're so fired up right now. You're going to go back with 1,000 ideas that you want them to, to implement, and they'll be like, "Hey, we're already gone for the day."
I am always fired up, Tim. This is I told you at the beginning of this thing. I love it. I love it. I love talking about it. I love experiencing it. I love watching other people succeed. I like partnerships. I like bringing someone into the fold and having them take a look under the hood at AGM. It's quite a culture, and it's very exciting. It's very passionate. It's humorous. It's silly. It's professional. It's all those things wrapped up into one. And I truly, as cliche as it sounds, I love getting up. I get excited to come in. There are days where I'm like, well, I'm going to leave a little early today because this sucks.
Sure, right?
It's not all roses, baby, but it's a lot of fun, and I really I'm proud of what we've accomplished. I'm proud of the team that's been assembled, and I hope that this continues for many years, and the growth continues, and new things will come up, and new things will happen, and new people will come in and out, and I hope I can impart any type of experience or wisdom on some of the youth, specifically coming out of college or not even out of college. I don't care. I went to school. I went to school for 9 days, and I lived at Ball State, not for 5 years, and had the whole college experience, but I didn't go to school. I went to a different school. I was working full time. I was in a different environment. So I don't care if they go to school. I just want them to be passionate. I want them to be creative. I want them to have, and I apologize if this is sponsored by a university, but at the end of the day, I want the person to come into the company and for them to get excited and to have the ideas and go, hey, let's get it done. I'm ready to rock and roll.
I love the passion. Hey, Adam, it sounds like you've been blessed with some incredible people. You've talked about a few of them here today. If they were all on the show, what would you want to say to them?
It's the same stuff I say every Monday, Tim. Great job. Amazing. So proud of you. Can't believe that I'm so lucky to have you gracing my presence. I would say the same thing. Like, hey, we're building something great. You guys are a huge part of it. The reason it's great is because of you. Let's not let the stress and the overwork and the confusion and the concern and the, oh my God, where are we going, overshadow the day-to-day. You could be somewhere else. And I don't know if you would love it. I honestly believe in my heart that you could leave because of the stress and the pressure and all this stuff. And you're going to go somewhere and it'd be much an easier life, but you're not going to feel as fulfilled as you are building something with all these great people. So stick it out, enjoy it, embrace the journey, which is core value number 3. Embrace the journey. Look at what we're doing here. It's pretty damn awesome. So let's keep it going.
I love it. Adam, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. Thank you so much for being on the show.
I've enjoyed it, Tim. Thank you. Great questions. Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the Self-Made is a Myth show. Please help spread this movement by liking and subscribing to our show and following us on Facebook and LinkedIn. To join our movement, go to bemadtogether.com. Okay, folks, that's a wrap. Please pay it forward and be sure to tune in next time to the Self-Made is a Myth podcast.